Imagine a scientific breakthrough so profound it could unlock cures for diseases that, until now, have been considered impossible to treat. Imagine the next pharmaceutical giant arising not from the traditional powerhouses of the United States or Western Europe, but from an unexpected partnership bridging South Korea and Sweden. Today, we are exploring a technological alliance with the potential to rewrite the future of medicine and transform the global contest for a market anticipated to surpass $130 billion by the year 2030. For decades, researchers have known that the key to treating many diseases lies in understanding the behavior of membrane proteins. These molecular gatekeepers reside on the surface of every cell, acting as sentinels that control what enters and exits. They manage everything from nerve impulses and hormone regulation to immune responses and metabolism. In fact, more than 60% of all existing drugs, including some of the most widely used medications, work by targeting these complex proteins. Blockbusters such as omeprazole, which eases the pain of ulcers, or loratadine, a lifesaver for allergy sufferers, owe their effectiveness to precisely manipulating these cellular gatekeepers. Yet there is a major hurdle. Once scientists try to extract these proteins from their natural environment, the protective embrace of the cell membrane, they become unstable, losing their shape and functionality. Working with them in a laboratory has been compared to trying to grasp water with bare hands. No matter how carefully you try, it slips right through your fingers. This instability has plagued researchers for generations, slowing the pace of drug discovery and leaving many promising targets effectively undruggable. This bottleneck is so significant that even Nobel laureates have spoken out about it. Dr. Brian Kobilka, a pioneer in the field, has called the challenge a critical roadblock in unlocking new treatments. The issue is not merely academic, it has direct consequences for millions of patients. Dr. Lauren May, a leading expert from Monash University, warns, drug discovery targeting GPCRs, one of the largest classes of membrane proteins, demands not only technical mastery, but also a deep understanding of intricate receptor signaling and modulation. Without this, outcomes can be unpredictable and even dangerous. Add to this the ever-increasing costs of drug development, now measured in billions of dollars per approved drug, and the looming threat of diseases like idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's, and you begin to see the magnitude of the challenge. The world is crying out for innovation, for a way to access the proteins that have been locked away by the limitations of traditional science. Enter Daewoong Pharmaceutical, a rising innovator from South Korea, and Salipro Biotech, a cutting-edge technology company from Sweden. Together, they are embarking on a partnership that could crack the code of membrane protein drug discovery. Salipro's revolutionary platform employs amphiphilic scaffold molecules, think of them as tiny molecular life rafts, that mimic the cell's lipid bilayer, providing a supportive environment where delicate proteins can maintain their structure and function outside the cell. For the first time, proteins that were previously too unstable to study can now be stabilized and analyzed, opening the door to new medicines for previously untreatable diseases. Daewoong's CEO, Park Seong-soo, describes this collaboration as a key step in open innovation, emphasizing its potential to expand access to challenging membrane protein targets and accelerate our drug discovery pipeline. Jens Frauenfeld, Salipro's CEO, shares the enthusiasm, noting this is Salipro's inaugural partnership with a Korean company, a landmark that could pave the way for deeper engagement with Asian markets and beyond. This partnership is not just another business deal, it signals a shift in how innovation happens in the pharmaceutical industry. For years, the field was dominated by Western multinationals with vast resources, but increasingly, breakthroughs are emerging from new centers of excellence. South Korea has rapidly established itself as a leader in biopharma, investing heavily in research and development, nurturing specialized talent, and supporting public-private partnerships. Sweden, meanwhile, boasts a long history of medical innovation, from the invention of the pacemaker to Nobel-winning advances in chemistry and physiology. But with great promise comes great risk. The path from laboratory bench to pharmacy shelf is littered with setbacks, failed experiments, clinical trial disappointments, regulatory red tape, and intense competition from entrenched giants such as Sanofi and Boehringer Ingelheim, both of whom have already experimented with membrane protein technologies. As an industry analyst at Global Data cautions, the membrane protein therapeutics market is on the verge of transformation, but the companies that succeed will be those capable of translating technical advances into safe, effective, and scalable medicines. Let's consider what is at stake. The global market for drugs targeting membrane proteins is projected to soar beyond $130 billion by the year 2030, driven by the rising prevalence of chronic diseases, aging populations, and advances in scientific understanding. Yet, more than 90% of new drug candidates fail somewhere in the clinical trial process, often because the underlying biology proves more complex than anticipated or because side effects outweigh benefits. Regulatory agencies such as the United States Food and Drug Administration and the European Medicines Agency are tightening requirements for both safety and efficacy, adding further hurdles. Even so, the potential rewards are enormous. If Daewoong and Salipro's platform delivers on its promise, it could enable the development of life-changing medicines for conditions that have long eluded effective treatment. Imagine new therapies for neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's, rare cancers with no current cure, or chronic illnesses like idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, where Daewoong's own DWN 12088 program is already advancing in Phase 2 clinical trials. A successful outcome could not only revolutionize patient care, but also establish Daewoong and Salipro as leaders on the world stage. Salipro's technology is already drawing attention from other innovators. For instance, its collaboration with Icosagin is focused on generating monoclonal antibodies, highly specific lab-created proteins that are essential tools in both diagnostics and therapy. By stabilizing membrane proteins, Salipro is making it easier to create these sophisticated antibodies, potentially speeding up the development of new drugs and tests for diseases ranging from cancer to autoimmune disorders. This multiplier effect could transform not just drug discovery, but the entire ecosystem of biomedical research. Expert voices across continents are taking notice. Dr. Jens Frauenfeld of Salipro Biotech emphasizes, "What we have developed addresses a fundamental bottleneck in drug discovery, presenting membrane proteins in a stable, near-native conformation. This is not just a technical improvement, it is a paradigm shift." Dr. Seong-Soo Park of Daewoong Pharmaceutical agrees, stating, "The collaboration will expedite our ability to reach previously intractable drug targets, strengthening our pipeline and allowing us to compete globally." But what about the risks? Clinical development is fraught with uncertainty. Even the most promising compounds can fail for reasons as varied as unforeseen toxicity, lack of efficacy, or insurmountable side effects. More than 90% of all drug candidates never make it from Phase 1 to regulatory approval. The competition is fierce, with rivals racing to harness advances in artificial intelligence-driven drug design, CRISPR gene editing, and high-throughput screening techniques. The winners will be those who combine technical innovation with flawless execution, deep market insight, and the agility to adapt as the landscape shifts. A regulatory official at the United States Food and Drug Administration supports the development of these new technologies, noting that innovations that enhance the stability and study of challenging drug targets can increase the efficiency and success rate of drug discovery, ultimately benefiting patients worldwide. Yet the story here is bigger than any single company or product. It is about how global alliances are dismantling old barriers, bringing together the complementary strengths of different cultures and scientific traditions. South Korea's emphasis on rapid, agile development and Sweden's heritage of scientific rigor are creating a synergy that could outpace the slower-moving giants of the West. This partnership is a model for 21st-century innovation, open, cross-border, and focused on solving urgent human problems. For investors, these developments represent both risk and opportunity. The pharmaceutical sector is notorious for its volatility. Spectacular breakthroughs can send share prices soaring, while setbacks can erase billions in market value overnight. But for those who understand the science and the strategy, alliances like Daewoong and Salipro's are a signal that the industry's center of gravity is shifting. Companies that can harness advanced platforms to unlock previously inaccessible drug targets may leap ahead, while those clinging to outdated models risk being left behind. And for patients and families, this partnership is a beacon of hope. It is a reminder that progress in medicine is rarely linear. Breakthroughs often emerge from unexpected combinations of expertise, perseverance, and creative problem-solving. Even if a particular drug fails, the knowledge and technologies developed in the process drive the entire field forward. Each small victory, each newly stabilized protein, each improved antibody, each successful trial, brings us a step closer to treatments that once seemed impossible. Let's also consider the historical context. The story of medicine is filled with examples where the fusion of ideas from different nations and disciplines has yielded world-changing results. The development of insulin, the polio vaccine, and modern cancer therapies all involved international collaboration and the sharing of knowledge across borders. In the 21st century, as diseases become more complex and globalized, the solutions must also be global. So, can this Korean-Swedish alliance truly deliver on its promise to disrupt an industry worth over $130 billion? The answer is not guaranteed, but the potential is unmistakable. The fusion of Daewoong's drug development experience with Salipro's breakthrough stabilization technology positions them at the forefront of a worldwide race to access targets that have, until now, been out of reach. Success would validate a new model of cross-border innovation, while failure would still yield valuable lessons and data to inform future efforts. Here's an often overlooked aspect. Salipro's platform does more than just stabilize complex proteins for drug development. It also accelerates the generation of monoclonal antibodies, which play a pivotal role not only in therapies but in diagnostics and basic research across the globe. The ripple effects could transform how scientists everywhere conduct experiments, diagnose diseases, and develop new therapies, multiplying the impact of each scientific advance. Looking ahead, the Daewoong-Salipro collaboration could serve as a blueprint for future partnerships. As the world faces emerging threats, new infectious diseases, drug-resistant bacteria, and the growing burden of chronic illnesses, the ability to rapidly discover and develop effective medicines will be more important than ever. The companies that embrace open innovation, invest in cutting-edge platforms, and collaborate across borders will be best positioned to meet these challenges. So, what does this all mean for you, the viewer? If you are interested in the forces shaping global markets, this story is a case study in how alliances between industries and nations can accelerate innovation. For investors, it is a reminder that the pharmaceutical landscape is changing fast. Those who spot the next big technology early could see substantial rewards, while laggards may struggle to survive. For patients, it is proof that hope often comes from unexpected places, and that perseverance, collaboration, and ingenuity can one day lead to cures for even the most stubborn diseases. If you want to stay ahead in the world of global technology and pharma, keep your eyes on partnerships like Daewoong and Salipro. History shows that true innovation often happens quietly, in the labs and boardrooms where scientists and business leaders from different corners of the world come together to solve problems that matter. Breakthroughs may take years, but when they arrive, they have the power to change everything, sometimes overnight. Like this video if you learned something new, and don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth